Warning, the following ZipRecruiter radio spot you are about to hear is going to be filled with F-words.
When you're hiring, we at ZipRecruiter know you can feel frustrated, forlorn even, like your efforts are futile, and you can spend a fortune trying to find fabulous people, only to get flooded with candidates who are just fine. Fortunately, ZipRecruiter figured out how to fix all that. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/zip. With ZipRecruiter, you can forget your frustrations because we find the right people for your roles fast, which is our absolute favorite F word. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day.
Fantastic!
So, whether you need to hire 4, 40, or 400 people, get ready to meet first-rate talent. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/zip to try ZipRecruiter for free. Don't forget, that's ZipRecruiter.com/zip. Finally, that's ZipRecruiter.com/zip.
With Robinhood, not only can you trade individual stocks and ETFs, you can also seamlessly buy and sell crypto at low costs. Trade all in one place. Get started now on Robinhood. Trading crypto involves significant risk. Crypto trading is offered through an account with Robinhood Crypto LLC. Robinhood Crypto is licensed to engage in virtual currency business activity by the New York State Department of Financial Services. Crypto held through Robinhood Crypto is not FDIC insured or SIPC protected. Investing involves risk, including loss of principal. Securities trading is offered through an account with Robinhood Financial LLC, member SIPC, a registered broker-dealer.
Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining me for Daily Spark with Dr. Angela. I'm your host, Dr. Angela Butch-Chester. You guys know who I am, and you know what I like to do on my show. Say it with me. I want to enlighten, inspire, and empower you to become your best self. Now, Scripture reminds us that the tongue is a small thing that makes grand speeches, but a tiny spark can set a great forest on fire. And that's what we want to do today. We want to get you fired up about my guest. I'll be spending time today with Heather Millard, and we'll be talking about her book, Moonlight Monsters. So you know what I'm going to tell you to do? Go on, get comfy, get cozy, get your coffee or get your tea, because we are about to get started. Hello, hello. Thank you so much for joining me today, Mrs. Millard.
I'm happy to join you, and you're in California, I believe.
Yes, thank you so much for joining us today. Now, we realize that there may be a few listeners who are unfamiliar with you, so the fact that you are a children's book author is something that I 100% love. I love children's book authors. You guys have a way of instructing our children, so thank you so much for being on. Now, I want to start with asking you about being an author. Is this something that you've always wanted to do, or did you find that this was one of the best ways to help teach children?
Well, I do have an imagination, and I do love children. I have 2 of my own who are now grown up. One is even 70, so she's not really considered a child anymore, but I will always consider her my child. And I was always seemed to be writing fairy tales or stories for children when I was, I guess I was about 12 or 13 when I started, and I have lots of children's stories. One is called The Happiness Jacket. One is about a hedgehog, which in America is called a porcupine. One's about a dragon who didn't know that he had any fire. One's about a fairy in fairyland who couldn't answer a question, so she was ousted from fairyland, and a little girl sees her in a toy shop and buys her and helps her get back to fairyland. And, of course, Moonlight Monsters is the book all about shadows, who become, in the eyes of Alexander, the boy in my story, who imagines that these shadows are monsters.
Yes, that is so awesome. I love that. I love that you have written so many and you're able to teach children in so many various ways. Now, when it comes to the title of the book, I have to say I love that you have entitled it Moonlight Monsters. I think that it really is going to catch the attention of so many because all of us, I think, can remember being a child and wondering about those moonlight monsters that we believe that we see. But I want to ask you about the age of the children. Would you say that your book is appropriate for our pre-kindergarten age children, or would you say this is more kindergarten, first and second grade?
Oh, more third grade, yes. I think a 7-year-old, 8-year-old, 9-year-old, maybe even 10-year-old, and even an adult, because the monsters that Alexander sees, which of course are shadows in reality, their names being Jangles, because he has a lot of medals and he's an impatient shadow. And then there is Mozzarella, who has a yellow plaid jacket, and then Daisy, who has a feather in her hat, which tickles Mozzarella's nose every time she bends her head. And lastly is Ritzy, who needs the job. There's an office, you see, of shadows, and these shadows get sent to different children to frighten them and to help the children find out how brave they can be. So there is a rule. In fact, it's interesting you mentioned the title. There was at one time, I had thought I would call it Monster Rules. And one of the rules was that the shadows would never talk to the children. And Ritzy, who this is her first job, and she arrives late because she couldn't find her left shoe. And when she arrives, she is also told she's going to have to fly up to Alexander's room on the second floor, and she says, I wasn't told when I applied for the job I would have to fly, and she's worried about that. And Jangles, who's really the leader of the group of shadows, says to her, never you mind, I'm going to count to 7 and you will all fly up. And she finds it a lot of fun, actually, as she's lifted upon something going up to Alexander's room and, of course, landing with the 3 other shadows on his wall. And when she sees how frightened Alexander is, she melts. She says to him, think of something happy like the monkeys in the zoo. And so he's surprised because he's never thought the monsters would talk to him. And then the wind blows the branches of this big tree, which is outside the window of his room. And it makes the shadows come even closer to him. So he's so really terrified now. And he jumps out of bed and he goes downstairs to his mother, who's in the kitchen. And she says to him, you must have smelled the chocolate chip cookies which I've just taken out of the oven. And he says to her, can I have, and then he thinks and he says, 4. And he's going to give it to the monsters. And she says, no, you can only have 1. Well, he's going up the stairs now, and the smell from the cookie is really so delightful. He wants to bite into it himself, but he doesn't. and he goes into the bedroom, and he knows they'll be there waiting for him. And so he tries to remember something Mozzarella had said to him, because Mozzarella had also decided to talk to him after hearing Ritzy. And Mozzarella said to him, I frightened George Washington when he was a little boy, and see what happened to him. And of course, George Washington is a hero of Alexander's. There's even a painting on the wall of George Washington in the boat crossing the Delaware. So he remembers this, and he gets to his room, and he tries to have a very commanding voice, and he says to the shadows, here is one cookie, and you must all share it. And then even Jangles says, you are brave, and brave boys shouldn't have to share their cookies. So Alexander suddenly feels he's brave. He keeps that thought in his mind. He hugs it to himself. He gets into bed. He goes off to sleep. And the next morning, he wakes up, and he sees the cookie is still there, that they didn't eat it. and so he's very, very happy, and he enjoys the cookie. And below on the garden path outside the house, the shadows are all talking about what happened. And Ritzy says, I don't think I want this job, because they think, children think of shadows as monsters. And Dangle says to her, but you're just what we need, because look how your idea of talking to Alexander helped him. And Mozzarella agreed, and Daisy agreed. And so that really is the situation. And it's, I hope, a way that even when we feel scared, that we can still find somehow the courage to deal with whatever it is that frightens us.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I love it. I love it. And what a great place for us to take our break. Alrighty, everyone. As you know, this book is available on Amazon and wherever books are sold. So you definitely know where to pick up a copy for your little one in your life. We'll be back right after this.
With Robinhood, not only can you trade individual stocks and ETFs, you can also seamlessly buy and sell crypto at low costs. Trade all in one place. Get started now on Robinhood. Trading crypto involves significant risk. Crypto trading is offered through an account with Robinhood Crypto LLC. Robinhood Crypto is licensed to engage in virtual currency business activity by the New York State Department of Financial Services. Crypto held through Robinhood Crypto is not FDIC insured or SIPC protected. Investing involves risk, including loss of principal. Securities trading is offered through an account with Robinhood Financial LLC, member SIPC, a registered broker-dealer.
And we are back. Thank you so much for joining me for Daily Spark with Dr. Angela. I'm your host, Dr. Angela Butchchester, and my guest today is Heather Millard, and we'll be talking about her book, Moonlight Monsters. I know, such a great title. Mrs. Millard, let me ask you about Alexander. Why was it important to give him the personality that you did?
Well, because I think he's got a universal fear of the dark, perhaps, and wondering when it's time to go to bed, dreading that moment of having to go to bed. And a lot of children will look in various places to see if there are any monsters in a cupboard or under the bed or somewhere. And so my grandson, Alexander, was scared actually of a painting that I had. And so you never know what's going to scare somebody, even an adult. And so I think I just wanted somehow to help a child realize that you can change your thoughts. That, if you think something, it doesn't always have to be exactly as how you think it. That you can change it into something good, something happy. You can really appreciate something that perhaps you hadn't appreciated. So, and being grateful is part of it, I think. And finding out about yourself, how you deal with things. So I think that Alexander, my stepson,
you said a very important thing there as well, and that is that sometimes adults are still frightened of things that affected them as children, and you never know what that trigger will be. So many times, for example, adults are afraid of dogs because when they were a child, they were chased by a dog. Or I know someone who doesn't particularly care for ducks or geese because they were chased as a little, I believe she was about 6 or 7 years old. She was chased by some ducks and some geese when she went to the lake. So it's all those little things, and I think you're right that you never know what's going to trigger a fear or a little apprehension in someone. So these stories that you share definitely help everyone. Well, let me ask you about then the personalities of the monsters that we hear about. How did you go about determining which fears or which personalities you would address for Alexander? Was that a tough thing to decide who you would include in the book?
No, it's interesting, and I just love them. Jangles, is a rigid sort of person, and not sort of open-minded, but by the end of the story, even he becomes open-minded when he sees how something happens that that it's good. It's good that to change something that perhaps is not helpful. So that was Jangles, and of course he was going to have no nonsense. And then there was Mozzarella, and I don't know, I loved his name, and I thought of him as a cheery sort of person. And of course he did come up with a positive approach that, he'd scared George Washington and he turned out to be okay and brave. And then, of course, Daisy, who I think she'll go along with everybody. I think Daisy will. And then Ritzy, I wanted her to be a very motherly sort of person who would be really sympathetic to any child who was scared and would do whatever she could to help that child. But I think that my major idea is, even in myself, that perhaps you could think somebody wasn't nice who you met, and then perhaps you could say to yourself, well, I think that now, but can I find something nice about them, or something good about them, or something good about this situation? And you can have a complete somersault and change your mind and that we are our thoughts, and yet at the same time we can create our thoughts by thinking them through. So I felt that was a gift to me personally, that I would think something, but that I didn't have to necessarily just think that I could think about it from a different perspective.
You are so right. I know that I tend to be an optimistic person. I try to think of the glass as half full as opposed to half empty. So you are so right there. It is all about how we choose to understand things and the perspective that we take. I think that's wonderful to remind children that they don't have to give their little person power away either, that things don't have to be scary, but when there's a certain understanding that you have, you can still be you can still have your courage and not be afraid of what's going on. I love that. Now, as a seasoned author, I want to switch gears just a little bit with you. As a seasoned author, you have, I'm sure, figured out your groove when it comes to writing. Many authors say that they prefer to write at a certain time of day or in a certain location. Some may be morning or evening, some may be, at the beach or out on the balcony. Do you have a particular time of day or location that really soothes your soul while you are writing?
Well, as a matter of fact, the other night I couldn't go to sleep, and at 5 o'clock in the morning, I had this idea for a play for children, and I'm going to try and approach the drama teachers in the schools when they open with the idea of the play, which I'm going to call Who Me. So I don't know when I'm going to get an idea, and when I do, I go immediately to either a pad and write down the idea, or if I'm home, the computer. So I'm very, I suppose, I don't have a schedule really, and I should. And actually, at the moment, I'm trying to write a novel, a historical novel, and it begins in 1763 and it ends in 1783, and it deals with the fact that even though America declared its independence in 1776, it took 7 years after that for the rest of the world, and of course the King in England, to accept the fact that America was a sovereign country. So with that, I'm working on that, and as well as the play, and also trying to get all my children's stories in one book rather than just a separate book for each story. So I've got a lot on my plate. I'm 97, and there aren't enough hours in the day because I also like to watch TV, and I like to have my friends over. So I'm quite busy.
Oh, Mrs. Millard, you are a woman after my own heart, or I should say, I am a woman after your own heart. I love that you are a busy bee. I am very much the same. My mother says that about me to her friends. She says, if I know one person that is not sitting idly by, who will get up and do something, that is always working on making something a little bit better or easier or including someone, it's my daughter. So I have to say, bravo, that was so inspiring to me to, keep moving forward, to keep doing what we have been I believe, placed on the earth to do. Whatever our personality type is, however we are little worker bees, to keep doing that. So I love that. And to be 97 years old, I love that our you are the same age, around the same age that my grandmother would have been. Um, I love that you guys are still out there sharing your voice and really inspiring us still, because your stories matter, and you are really filling a void for a lot of people who want to know the information that you have lived through, that you can share with us. So thank you for continuing to do that. Now, I have to say, a play, I think that's going to be fun. Definitely keep us in the loop about that whenever that happens to come out. That's going to be exciting, because that means even more children will be involved and their parents will be able to see them in action with that. That's exciting. I love it. I love it. Now, as a as a writer, what would you say is the thing that keeps you motivated to keep writing or to keep going? Is it and you may have answered this just a bit, but I want to give you a chance to expound if you'd like. Is it your love for children? Is it your love of teaching the children? What keeps you motivated to keep going?
I think that if I can help anybody, whether it's a child or a friend or even a stranger, it makes me feel good. I'm sure you feel the same way.
Yes, ma'am.
So I'm not happy. I would never be happy just being happy by myself. I'd always want whoever I was with to be happy as well. If I was married for 59 years, and I never would have asked my husband to do something just to make me happy if it made him unhappy. So I think my whole value in life is we should love each other and help each other, and then you feel good yourself. That's I don't know, you like yourself, I think, when you've helped other people as well.
Oh, agreed. Agreed. As a little child, I remember hearing the adults say, if something that I've done inspires one person or makes one person happy, then I'm glad that I did it. As a teenager, I would hear celebrities say, if I can help one person not be whatever it is, not be homeless, not be hungry, whatever the cause was for, then this was all worth it. And I understood what they were saying. But now that I am an adult and I am trying to be a part of that change in the world, yes, I definitely understand. And you're right, you do feel that, wow, okay, all of this effort was worth it because one person has been inspired or empowered, or you made someone laugh, or they just felt seen, or they felt heard. And in a world that's so full of chaos or noise and distraction, sometimes we forget to slow down just enough to see our neighbor or to see our friend and let them know that we hear them and we love them and care for them. So I love that. I love that. Well, Mrs. Millard, thank you so much for coming on Daily Spark with Dr. Angela and sharing about your book and being such a wonderful inspiration to all those who have listened today. I have enjoyed my conversation with you.
I have enjoyed my conversation with you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. You are so welcome. And listeners, thank you for spending some time with us here today as well. Now, of course, this book is available on Amazon and wherever books are sold. I hope that we have once again enlightened, inspired, and empowered you to be your best self. As always, may the Lord speak to you with His grace and with His mercy. May you always remember that you are blessed in the Lord. Have a great day, everyone.